Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's That's Cool Drink. It's the special noon edition on Tuesday. Trevor had to go to work. Erin he needs her laptop to make this happen. So I was like, let's just do noon, whatever. So we're day drinking a little bit. So I've got Mango Cart from Golden Road. This is I found out about this from Stefan Rossi from Ace Racing Engines, who's absolutely awesome. He was like, let's go get a mango cart in his English accent, and big fan. So cheers to some day drinking here at noon. Before we get started, Rich Guido is on sick 66, and he needs a clutch. You can't see that very well. You can't see that at all. Check out his Facebook. He needs a 11-inch centered iron disc or a Ford color for a T56 Magnum with a non-hydraulic throwout bearing. Whatever, he's got part numbers. He's in Amarillo, Texas. If you've got parts, he needs parts to make that 666 happen for him. There's a bunch of our homies out on 666 right now. I am fresh off of FL2K. Rain out, unfortunately, but we did get a few rounds in, and it was an absolute blast. Shout out to Doug Floyd. That dude is awesome. The dude behind the camera that was helping me out for the last few events, able to really keep up with me. We got me a golf cart, and I think we did like 100 interviews. It was absolutely off the chain. Right before that, the complete rain out of the NMRA World Finals. That was a tough deal. Bowling Green, Kentucky. We got 0 passes in. All the circle track stuff was going, and that was really cool. But the sad part is right after that event, NMRA, NMCA, Pro Media, the group that owns both, unfortunately said, we're done. Like, we're out of here. We're not doing it anymore. NMRA and MCA, and that's super sad. So I'm wearing my NMRA shirt today, kind of in remembrance. I got to work a couple of events with those dudes. Dave McClelland was a announcer for them. Dude's awesome. And of course, Brian Loans was an announcer for them early in his days. So being able to put my like small little footprint in their gigantic shoes of announcers from NMRA and MCA is a very, very cool thing for me to be able to do. Yes, it is the coolest shirt ever. I got Stevie one as well. Danny Bemis, welcome, man. Your buddy, Mr. Guido, is looking for parts. So hopefully you know somebody in Amarillo with a centered iron disc for a freaking Pontiac, whatever. That you're nuts for having a Pontiac that you drive that much, but I'm happy you do. He just made a post recently since he rebuilt his car. He has 170,000 miles on that car. That dude's nuts. Sometimes through the snow and ice and sleet, and he lives in Canada, for crying out loud. Speaking of living in Canada, Trevor and Erin Branden are on today. Super duper stoked to have these guys on. Trevor pilots and Erin co-pilots and or cruises around with the TRX truck with him doing the thing in a very, very low 8-second GTR. This car is absolutely off the chain, and it's had multiple lives. It's going to be fun talking to him about it. And kind of my joke with it is that he goes out on the highway, goes 170, he hits set on the cruise control, and then he shows up at the racetrack with the slicks on, he pushes resume, and the thing goes 170 miles an hour, and it runs almost in the sevens. And he's kind of just along for the ride, like hitting the switches. And like, I think that's just what happens, right? Those are easy to drive. We'll talk about it. It's going to be fun. So again, going up to the land of North, wearing a That Track Channel hat as well. Shout out to Gary Cummins up in Canada. He's that dude's gangster, and I'm happy to be repping him a little bit. And Trevor is too, which is awesome. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Awesome midday, some day drinking action on That's Cool Drink. Let's get this party started. There they is. Welcome to That's Cool Drink, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on, and thanks for being Dragon Drive enthusiasts recently. I know you guys have a long history of kind of motorsports stuff, and being able to be involved in my backyard got me to be able to meet you guys, and you guys are absolutely awesome. So, thanks for being you, and thanks for having cool stuff, and thanks for being cool people, and thanks for being on That's Cool Drink, man.
Well, we thank you for having us, first of all, and I've been doing this quite a while, and we got a lot of similar friends, and we've had lunch and suppers and stuff together. So we
Yep.
even celebrated a birthday together.
Yes, we did. Yep, and Matt Blasco's had 6 or 7 of them. Um, back to back to back. And Stevie, like Stevie says, it's Team Pull One Oot.
Yeah.
Stevie typically kind of pits with all you guys, Rich and Bill and whatnot, and you guys are always you guys are your Team Pull One Oot. You're looking for a good pass, and you're always like cheerleading her on, and she's always cheerleading you guys on, and I appreciate that a lot too, because I'm always in the tower doing the thing, so she's just kind of on her own, and you guys formed your lone little alliance of Team Pull One Oot.
Yeah, it's great because I can help her unpack and pack the car because you're busy doing the announcing and stuff, and when she's done and when we're done, we're just waiting around a lot of times for you or whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, shoot, one time right before the race, you were underneath my car changing the rear diff with me. Yeah, we sacrificed a Gojira shirt on that escapade, unfortunately. So yeah, good times. Whatever, but you guys are awesome, and like I said, you've got a long history with not just the GTR, but like motorsports altogether. Like, talk about kind of what started you guys, because let's talk about you guys first. You guys have been together like forever, right? Like, I found pictures of you when you were like maybe 12 and in like grade school and dating and stuff. But like, how'd you guys meet? How'd you get together? And how did Trevor, I assume, you convince Erin that this was a cool way to live your life, because she's obviously in.
well, we met like next summer will be our 30-year anniversary from our wedding. So we've been married almost 30 years. Next year, I kind of cut back a bunch. Like I was registered for Rocky Mountain and I was registered for Race Week. Rocky Mountain, they moved my turnaround so I couldn't leave. And then Race Week, I was going to come, but just financially, we want to go big next year. So we want to do
Yeah.
like a lot of events next year because it's our 30 years. So we want to make next year a special year. So we were like, that was our plan. And I met Erin. She was in high school. I was just finished, and I moved to a mutual friend of ours. I moved one of my buddies to live with him, and I hooked up with my cousin Debbie, and his best friend's younger sister was Erin's, and that's how we met. And yeah, we from then we've been at the hip pretty much all the time. If she's not with me, you know as well as I am, she's got the hotel, she's got my route planned. It's all itineraried out for me, so all I have to do is go by her instructions, and it's all figured out.
Yeah, so I mean, really, she just not only is you guys are the best looking grandparents ever. I just got to start with that. Not only is she a grandma, but she's also, she's still raising you. Like, she's still figuring out where you need to go and where you need to be, and make sure that you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
And again, Erin, like, you're a saint. Like, how in the hell did he convince you? Is he putting stuff in your water? Is he putting stuff in the drinks? Like, how does he convince you to stick around? And on top of that, like, oh, by the way, we're going to be like crazy poor car people.
I don't know. It's fun. I started getting into it too. We raced when we first got married. We raced locally, and then got out of it for a while. Had a kid, had a grandkid, and then it's just we did rallies and stuff. And then it's just the last 5 years that we really got back into drag racing.
Yeah, and you yourself did a bunch of the rally stuff as well, right? Like early.
Yeah, I've organized rallies. We've done Dust Bowl rally, Alpha rallies. We did our own little rally. We've been all over North America with multiple different cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you don't really have a brand specific, like, you guys kind of go, you do everything. You have a little You have a little spice of everything. Like I found the Skyline. You know, lots of Hellcat stuff. So Dodges, obviously the GTR. What got you into what was the kind of the car that it was like, okay, now we're going to be car people. And again, Erin is like, okay, well, I'm an idiot, we're going to be poor and eating ramen noodles and um, dill pickle chips to stay alive. We do car, like when was that, when did you guys make that like move to like, and what car was that?
Well, even when we were younger, we had like I had a Dakota RT, and that's what I
Hmm.
drag raced back in '98. I had a Dakota RT. I had a Kenny Bell supercharger on it. And in 2002, we bought Erin a GTP, the 40th anniversary, and it drove me nuts because I had all this money in my Dakota, and she was faster than me, like a full second, not even close, like a full second faster. And I was like, oh. And then we got a bit older, and of course, our daughter got older, so things got more expensive. Our daughter played sports, so we began coaching and supporting. We had only one child, so we
Yeah,
supported
doing the parent thing.
family stuff, right? And that's when our daughter left home and went to university. That's when we got back into the cars. Funny story about the GTR. When I bought that over 15 years ago, um, I actually bought it out of Chicago because I wasn't going to pay markup in Canada because they wanted way over sticker. And I bought a used one with 6,000 miles on it out of Chicago, had it imported, and the money came out of our bank account because it's like everything. If you know us, everything's joint. Like we got the same Facebook, we got the same iTunes, we got the same. Everything's kind of both of us. It's no hidden secret. But our joint checking account, money came out, and she said, "What's this money for?" And I'm like, I bought a car." "What do you mean you bought a car?" I was like,
Right, and it's not like a little like
"Where is it?"
purchase. It's a 6,000, 6,000 mile GTR is like
Yeah,
there's commas and zeros and stuff in
yeah.
there. And she's like, "Hey, by the way,
Well,
She,
where is it,
"Where's
Dad?
this
Where is
car?"
this
And
car?
we made 3 payments before I even received the car because I was stuck at the border and then customs and all that stuff. So she was like freaking out because we were like, "Well, where's this car?" And I bought it before I turned 40, and I was like a midlife crisis. You get older. I want to buy a fast car, like
right,
like kind of the youthful trend is I want that fast car. And back then, the GTR was the supercar killer. And
right,
I like the underdog factor to beat the big guys,
totally
So
doing it all with a V6." And
yeah,
yeah, I get it. I get it. That's the way. That's always kind of been the way. Do a little more with less.
yeah,
But and I can kind of see where you guys go through some midlife crises and whatnot, and then you do things like this.
yeah. I bought that when I turned 50.
Yeah, so you get yourself a Corvette, you get the New Balances, you get the knee high socks. I
The
mean,
bucket hat.
yeah, so you are definitely, both of you are right on the edge of trends.
Yeah,
Um,
you got
you
to
can
embrace the
tell,
lifestyle, right? Like
right? I
you
mean, you
gotta,
may as well.
yeah, you gotta step up for what you own. What you own is that kind of car. That's what you got to embrace.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so what was that first car done still that like that planted that seed where you guys were like, again, you sent your daughter off to college, like you're getting back into it. What's that one, like putting the
That
seed
was,
in the ground? Okay, here we go.
that was probably the GTR. When we got the
Okay.
GTR, we committed to doing like rallies and because a lot of events you couldn't do per se because not knocking rallies, but rallies is, oh, you don't have a high enough car for our event kind of situation. And the GTR was
Right.
like a baseline to get in, like Cannonball Run. I did that actually with Bob Dito,
Hmm.
Richard's
Bull Run.
brother. I did Bull Run. I mean, Bull Run. And I barely knew Bob. I played basketball with Bob, and I knew he raced a bit, but I didn't know Bob that well. And I'm like, "Hey, would you go on a rally with me?" Because Erin couldn't go, and he was like, "Sure." And then me and Bob hung out for a week together and shenanigans of a rally, and that's where the seed came back hard for me. And then Erin got to do like come to the track, and to be honest, the GTR was pretty maintenance free for a long portion of owning it.
Hell
So
yeah.
it wasn't caught nickeling and diming at that time.
Right. Like, not like it is now. And I think it really, you could put any, honestly, like any chassis that you're like, I want to go sevens.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what badge is on the front of it. It's going to be expensive and it's going to nickel and dime the shit out of you right at the end because that's just how it works. I mean, it would do the same if it were a Ford or, an LS or it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't, a Hellcat would be the same. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're going fast with something. It's going to get expensive at the end. It's just part of the deal. And like, I guess that's a good. You just did a bunch of upgrades. When I say you, I mean you and with help with PFI. Um, you chopped your car all up because you're like that car's fast. I mean, let's. How quick has it been so far?
Well, I ran an 8. My fastest is an 801 is my personal best with the car.
Right.
Just
So like
just
on
on
the
the edge.
freaking cusp
And I
of
did
that
that
seven.
I did that 173 mile an hour. That sixth
Wow.
summer, I was doing 179.79 miles an hour. So I gained 6 mile an hour, but I still haven't cracked it. I just was being soft off the launch because I need to
Yep.
finish the week. And
Yep.
that sixth summer, I had to be I had the car to beat because I was one of two cars that could run faster than 850 because
Right.
they were age limited. And so I was like, I want to make it through the week, and then the last day I want to turn it out. That was my plan.
Yep.
And like I had a pretty good event. I was one and done at every track, so I never got to hang out and stuff because we were done and moved
Yeah.
on.
You're on the road. Right.
Yeah, and like a lot of people that we roll with weren't at the event, so I rolled with other people and met up other racers and stuff, which was the main reason for it, and that's why we do the rallies. That's why we do drag and drive is because you get to cruise with other people, lunches with other people, suppers, and
Yeah.
that aspect of the people aspect is the exciting part for
No.
me.
I agree. Like for literally anybody. Oh, Tom Bagley. Hey, what's going on? Our UK friends get to watch because they're from the UK and there's a huge time difference and they're awake for this one. So the UK guys, hey guys, what's happening? We're getting drunk in the middle of the day. When I say we, it's just me because they have to drive and things and be responsible. So I guess I'm drinking for three of us. Like, let's go. Mm. Um, I didn't realize it, and I know I've been kind of keeping tabs of the GTR a little bit. I didn't realize you bought that thing with 6,000 miles on it.
Yeah, it was in Canada. I actually put my name in an '09, and they came back and they wanted 20% over sticker, and I was like, I'm not
Right.
paying over sticker. And I waited a year, and I was able to get one out of the states for actually I only paid $76,000 for that car.
Wow.
Yeah, like the price on those cars used was so, and it was only 6,000 miles on it. When I got the car, it sat in the showroom in Chicago, and the wheel bearing was dried up a bit. So I had to do one wheel bearing, which was under warranty because I bought it through a dealership because I was
Right.
like, I'm gonna get it through a dealership, so I make sure it's legit.
Still, yeah, it still has a warranty and still has all the stuff. Yeah.
And then that was pretty much it. And ever since then, we drove it like lots. Well, in the first 3 years we owned it, I put on probably 70,000 miles at least on it.
And it's got a lot of miles now, right?
Yeah, almost 200,000.
It's freaking
So
wild.
on the chassis, 200,000. Still
Right.
stock suspension, so 200,000 on the suspension. I can't believe it still works because how hard
Right.
I launched it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And it does. I mean, that thing, it's crazy. It has this is an older picture.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
that's
has the exhaust pipe that it's dragging on the ground.
Yeah, I had to actually take the bottom carbon back piece off because I was
Hmm.
actually hitting it on the ground so hard on the launches that was actually ripping the whole thing that goes around my taillights and everything. That's all like one piece. So I had to take the carbon piece off the bottom because it was launching so hard. Like it squats the back and then it just carries the front tires for about 60 feet and then it settles down. But it's been doing well for me. Like I'm always worried about I'm gonna have to do something with my suspension because eventually those coilovers are gonna beat out.
Right. Right. And I got a good look at FL2K at bunch. I mean, TX2K, which you guys have done, and FL2K have a really big, not just import scene, but I mean, almost specifically a GTR scene. Like it's big. It's a really big deal over there. And that crap is fast. Holy moly, that stuff is fast. What's the key? Because these things are 3 liters, right?
Mine originally was 3.8 stock.
3.8, okay, stock.
1.8 liter. So
yeah, so it's a 3.8 V6 stock.
Yeah, and like out of a stock engine, you can actually get them down to 950s with just turbos. The problem is the torque. Is once you turn the torque up, you start sending rods through side of the block. The rods are very weak. The stock crank, the stock block, the heads, the stock heads. No, you can't hear us when it's pictures up.
Yeah, see? I can't hear you. What?
See? Yeah, so when you got it'll hold up to 1,500 horsepower. Like it's crazy the amount of power they can take if you change the rods and pistons and put cams in. And that's literally all you have to do. But you're skating on the edge.
Right.
So
like the tune's got to be perfect. Everything. If you've got one issue, then the thing's kaput, and you're spending thousands of dollars taking it back apart. It's what's the recipe for where it's at now? Like, what's a 7-second GTR recipe?
Well, I'm working on that. I haven't got my 7 yet. Like right now, I'm just going. We were actually pulling the motor out. I'll be back down in Denver in a couple of weeks, pulling the motor out, going through it, rechecking everything, cleaning up a few more wires because there's a few more wires that are showing. And even though I put a new harness in it, but when you pull an engine in and out a few times, it's hard on harnesses and plugs. So we're gonna fix that up, and then hopefully by sick week is our plan. And it's right at Erin's birthday, so we're gonna go down to Florida. Last year it was just like it was more like a holiday. It was actually, even though that was one of the very few Dragon drives I've never finished. I've done 11 events and I've not finished 2. Florida was one of them. I had an injector fail and I went lean and melted a piston.
Right.
And I'm not like most cars. Like I can't get a junkyard GTR motor.
Right. Right. And even like the ancillary stuff, like you had an alternator problem a couple of years ago. And dude, I mean, in Pueblo, where the hell are you going to find a GTR alternator? Like that's stuff I hadn't even thought of because all of my stuff is relatively, out there. But you drive around with a little bit of a ticking time bomb. If you don't have a piece, odds of finding that stuff is pretty low.
Yeah, the OEM parts are even that is very tricky. So like you said, that OEM, I've been lucky. Like I said, I've done 11 events. I finished 9. I've only had 2 events where I had trouble, and I had one event that it was trouble. 80 miles from the first track, my alternator burned up, and I was running with a generator on the roof with a booster cable or battery pack zip tied to my wiper blades and connected to my battery. I could drive 30 miles, and once the voltage dropped to 11 volts, my transmission would lose all forward gears because it's all computer controlled for pressure.
Right.
Well, and then I had to pull over, sit there, stopped, let the battery charge, and then I could drive another 30 miles. And that was the day we did 430 miles.
Oh my God.
We got to Bill Armstrong's house from Pueblo, from Kearney, and we got to Bill's at 2 a.m, and that was the day Richard had his heads off in the garage, and he was working on doing his heads with Matt. So yeah, that was quite the drive. We actually left hours before Bill and Richard, and we broke because they had to do multiple passes, and they passed us on the drive because we had to stop so many times. Like that was so painful. We changed the alternator. I put a Nissan Maxima alternator in.
Maxima, Mumford's Garage was asking if you put an Ultima one, but it's a Maxima alternator that you put in.
Yeah. So we put that in there, and then we plugged it in because the plugs were right. That's the only reason. But it's only a 110 amp alternator.
Right.
So it's not going to last very long. And I was trying to find one. And then we were in Denver. I still didn't find one. We got to Pueblo, and I had mine burn out when we did the drive on Pueblo. So I had to get another one. And on a GTR, you got to remove your oil fill and your oil pump, tubing lines, pressure lines, and stuff. They're below the alternator, so you're working under the car to pull the alternator. It comes from underneath, and
Right.
not all that hot oil is dripping on you. So I changed that alternator 3 times on that event,
Oh,
and then
God.
I went through a full set of tires.
I was going to say, is that the same one that you went through the tires too?
My tires blew, what was it, 200 miles from the last track, and
And
I had
this
to put
was, I think this was
yeah,
your deal there. So you ran it all on the roof rack, and I remember driving behind you, and you had the street tires on the roof rack, and you were
yeah,
driving on your slicks on the
yeah.
street for a little while because you had to. I mean, what else are you going to do?
And I literally got to the track at, I think it was midnight and or 11 or something like that. And the tire, like Matt is awesome. He has groups that follow with tires and stuff. They
Mhm.
actually had a set of tires. I literally got to the track and I stopped and I was sliding the jack under and my slicks blew up.
That's
One of
not
my
it.
slicks blew.
Right then, I've got. I thought I had a picture of. No, I thought I had a picture of Matt doing those tires for you.
Yeah, Matt was showing me because I've never done. Yeah, Matt and Bobby with the hoist is
Yep,
another one. Like Matt.
showing you how to do the bead locks.
And to be honest, that event, if I was going to quit, that would have been it because I had so many problems that entire event.
Hmm.
I was doing fuel pumps on that event. I did fuel pumps on that. I did, I don't know how many passes with fuel pumps and arms in the fuel tank. Next pass, fuel pumps apart and arms in the tank again. So I had multiple issues on that event, but there was so many road weakers, I'd say. The organizers like Matt and June,
Right.
they actually pushed me through to finish.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
to be honestly, they were the energy that pushed me through to carry on.
Yeah, because it would at that, like you said, if you were gonna quit, that would be it. Like it's like this has been so tough. Like, yeah, Amadeo says, "Do it. We would not let you quit." And that's when like once you get through a little bit of that, um, you know what you can take.
Yeah,
So like I've done that, and that was worse than this. I can fix this, no big deal. That's like Rich Guido right now looking for an unobtainium clutch disc. Like he's done it, he'll find it, he'll get it going. It's all good. Like once you've had the sour, the sweet tastes better. Like
yeah.
you know what it's like when you work your ass off to finish one. Um, and then when the good ones work, it's like, man, that was a whole lot better even. So
Well,
yeah,
that
no,
one
it's
feels
all
like
good.
to be honest, that one feels like I earned that one,
Right.
even though I was actually in first place in that event until third day, and then Aaron Schaefer passed me, and then it finished that event. I finished second again, but I mean, I finished second, and it's funny. I finished second 3 times, and I think Steve's been third all 3 times behind me, and Erin was first twice, and then Randall was first once. So I've
Okay.
always been that guy that just couldn't do it, and then Steve's behind me, like. So
Yeah, come on, man.
now that me and Erin kind of switched, Steve's running away with it, and I was like, to be like the 850 class was so fun because the guys in that group were
it
like, it
it's
was
like
awesome.
its own little like subculture in
Yeah,
drag and drive, and it's the same at every event. Like they all have their kind of 850 class that's built off of the same one from Drag Week. But all those 850 guys, they get so freaking good at running that number. And then NMCA and MRA has 860. So a bunch of those 850 dudes run that same 860 class in NMRA and MCA.
yeah,
So it became a huge deal between all those folks. And man, it got to the point where if you weren't 850
yeah,
anything, dude, I mean, unfortunately, that it's not enough, and you got to go home. Oh, Aaron's even watching. Bam.
yeah.
Thanks, Aaron. And Eric Carroll says there ain't nothing wrong with second place. I mean,
Oh
second
no,
place, second
like
place earns you a wallet.
to be honest, that second, like I said, feels better because I had to go so much adversity through it, and all the competitors and all the other racers and the road weakers and organizers are like, "Come on, keep going, keep going." I got second, which was I feel like that's better than my first place at Six Summer. Like
Right.
Six Summer, I won the class, but I had a full half second lead on everyone. I
Right.
wasn't pushing my car. I was just one and done, moving on. Like it was. Sure, it's a challenge. Like you still drive 1,000 miles and you're going, but it just would like it was funner when it was more competitive, even though you don't win,
Right.
and the camaraderie because you're all right there, but then you're all trying to help text. Like I know I don't have parts for them, but I know a lot of people in the area, and I'm texting them, hey, you got
Totally.
like Steve? I think when he broke his drive shaft at Bandamere, like I
Mhm.
was texting like a bunch of people that are around the Denver area that might have some parts or close to, right? So
Right. Yeah.
that's the camaraderie that you enjoy. When you run away with an event, it's like that it didn't feel like I earned it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Even though I
Yeah, no,
finished,
I get it because and the guy you're helping to find a drive shaft for is the guy that's nipping on your heels in the
yeah,
class. Like third place, you're second place.
yeah,
Like it doesn't feel right if I'm not helping that guy beat me because I don't want to win like that.
yeah,
I want to race this dude all the way to the end, and at the end, I want to share smiles, share some hugs, and talk about when I'm going to see them next, doing it again,
yeah.
trying to beat them at running 850.
That's 100% true. Like I almost feel like I was a mistake moving my car up to a faster, but it was 850 for 5 years.
Right, right,
You know, and I was like, I did it for 5 years. I mean, it was a blast. It was great, but I was like, my car is capable of running high sevens, and I'm like, I was looking at the wear and tear on my car because financially my car is a little more expensive than some of the others.
right,
Like to do an 850, you're doing 5 passes a track, so you're doing
right,
25 passes a weekend,
right.
and then
And
you're
you
driving
use the
1,000
oil
miles.
every time you get to the track. You change the oil,
Yeah, and then the
and
transmission's taking a beating. So
right,
on mine is dual clutch. So
yeah,
like to do rebuild, refresh a transmission is like 13 grand.
right, right,
And it's not I'm doing 5 passes at that track. I'm also doing 5 burnouts. That means I'm slipping the clutches for 5 burnouts.
right.
And that's not my life in my car. And just that cost, I was like, well, if I'm in the 750, I know I can't run 750. But if I run like 80 or 790, I have pressure on those 750 guys. If they have a couple bad days, they're behind me, and then we're duking it
Totally.
out, right?
The road is the old. I mean, the road's the
Yeah,
ultimate equalizer. And especially when you're talking 400-mile day. I mean, shoot, you guys got hit by a circular saw blade with your
yeah,
car. I mean, the shit that could happen
Yeah,
is
somebody was trying to cut him out of the competition.
you just never know what you might literally run into. Like, I mean, so yeah, you're following a construction truck or something, and it hits
the
a bump,
welding
and
truck.
a circular saw blade goes. I mean,
Yeah, it was
violent
switched
side for
down.
it wasn't this way, it's this
Yeah,
way, and whacks into the front of your car. I mean, that could have taken you out of competition. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's the
it
stuff
cut
you
the
never
intercooler.
know what might happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, it didn't go
yeah.
well, sure.
I got really lucky. Sure wrecked the front end, but it didn't wreck the intercooler, didn't wreck the
Right?
oil pan. There's
I mean, a thousand things could have gone wrong, and you absorbed two of them, and like in the grand scheme of stuff, that was an awesome. Like that could have been way worse, like way worse. And I've never ever heard of anything like that before. But that's the stuff you get on Drag and Drive. You just
yeah,
never know what you might encounter. It could be a circular saw blade trying to take you out of competition.
yeah,
It's wild, but I'm with you. Like if you're a 790 in a 750 class, you're in striking distance. It only takes one or two of those guys to break or run over a circular saw, or
bad day.
have
Yeah,
one bad day, and you're right there.
yeah. And then it gives me a better shot. Like I like Matt's heads up on the last day, where it's the fastest guys on the property, and I like to make sure I qualify, kind of thing, to make sure because I was on the edge. Like I was the ninth guy, and one guy broke, and I actually got in, and I
Well,
enjoyed
but now
that.
you're at the end of the faster class.
Yeah, so there's a better chance to make the last day shootout. Like the shootout is intriguing. Like I beat my car up all these time, and on the last day, I just love that aspect. Like that's one of the coolest parts of Rocky Mountain and Race Week
Yeah,
is that last day shootout. A
totally. I
lot of
mean,
people
you
like
get
it because
to actually race your car, and I know
yeah,
that you a couple of like you even came up to me and you were like, I can't build boost. I don't have bump button or anything. Like I've got to figure out how to race this car.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sucks. Figure it out. Like that's part of the deal. Like you're gonna race because you race. Like
Yeah.
everything else is test and tunes, which is awesome. Like get to go fast, get to go as fast as you can. But as you know, like you can turn on a wind light against a car that's on paper way faster than you because it
Yeah,
happens.
well,
Like
Chad's a prime example. I raced Chad in the first round one year, and Chad Figley, and
yep.
his car runs like upper sevens at that time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Stick
and he's
shift car. Yeah.
stick shift, and he come out of the hole too hot, so he spun. So I got that beginning on him, right? Another one was Corey Thompson. I got him because
Mhm.
he quickly bumped in, but he didn't build himself enough boost because he
Right.
was trying to get me, so I didn't build boost. And he's bigger motor, so he's got more torque. But I treed the hell out of him, and that was the time he almost put that beautiful car in the wall. Like he was skating out there.
Right.
He was hit his scramble button, then he hit his nitrous, and that's where he kind of went sideways. And I
Right.
saw him in the mirror because I knew he was gonna top end me like crazy. And I saw
Right.
him, and then all of a sudden I saw a shootout, and he was slowing down. I was like, oh, I got him. So I mean,
Yeah, and on paper, if you raced on paper, you lost both those races.
oh yeah, I'm out.
Corey Thompson's car is a mid 7-second car.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean that's why we race them because you just never know. Any given, I always say any given Sunday, whatever day it is, if you pull in the beams, you got a chance. Which is great. Pat Cook says absolutely. You never know who will be in the finals. Pat Cook ended up in the finals with a totally stock F-150 in Rowdy Radial. Like he took out a guy because he couldn't make the pass.
Yeah.
Jason King took out Bryant Goldstone. Jason King's got a small tire, small block nitrous Fox body, and Bryant Goldstone had a six. I think his car went as quick as 668 or something like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't get the thing to stage. That's why
Yeah,
you race. It's so much fun.
I think Steve won that one. I think
Steve won. Yeah, Steve won the FAA.
We're like I said, he's been third behind me at
Yep.
multiple events.
Yeah, and his car is an 850 car, and it's run 850, and it's probably got some more in it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that year I think he was 870s, and he ended up winning. You just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. I'm going to start hopping into a few of my questions here. If you're out there, especially you UK guys, how about you UK guys? And I know all you other guys that are, you're at work, Eric. I love that you're watching it. You're at work. That's awesome. That makes me super happy. Aaron Schaefer's probably at work too. I like your style, y'all. Watching us daydream, throwing some questions in here for the Branden folks, and yeah, dude, we'll get those answered. And I'm going to start into mine a little bit, and we're gonna continue kind of rolling through all this because I want to touch on a bunch more. But I need to know, because you've had a lot of cars, both y'all. What's the one that got away? What car did you sell that you shouldn't have sold?
For me, is the Trackhawk.
Yeah, same.
That was such a good car. Like I towed my GTR to Texas 2K, I think 3 different times. We drove to SEMA. It was just all purpose, and it was a sleeper. Like Erin,
it's the grandma Jeep.
Yeah, the grandma Jeep, and it was fun because Erin would drive to and from work and stuff.
Yeah,
so dependable, no problems. Like it wasn't modern or anything, but Erin would run 11.7s in the quarter mile with it. Like it's still fast, like 11-second
right,
car.
right, exactly. 11-second, like with a warranty, and it's easy to drive, and I mean but then it's a monster when you put your feet in it.
Yeah,
they're sweet. Gary wants a ride in the GTR.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
I'll probably
so
see him at Sick Summer or Sick Week.
Yeah, we'll make that happen, Gary, for sure. Shout out to Gary. Gary made it to he was at No Mercy, and someone helped him out getting over there, and I'm not sure who, but give a shout out to those guys, and I'll give them a shout out too for my 18 viewers, including you, Mr. Gary. Also, one of the things I learned from Gary, the weird sneaky move is when you're at your hotel, before you check out, you leave your YouTube channel playing on the hotel TV so that you gain wash hours. That's smart as hell right there. Gary's got that stuff down. Talk to me about rally driving. What's involved with that? I know that's something that Erin's done as well, but um, what got you into it, and what I mean, I've always been excited about what these things are. Talk to us about it.
Should wait till the picture goes. There we go. Well, that last picture that was with the Challenger, which we no longer have. I actually went over a riverbank with that one.
I heard about that, and
20,
I'm happy you're still here.
There's lots of things involved with rallying. That was a dust ball rally in that picture there, and we've done quite a few dust balls. They have 1,000 miles, 2,000, and then we did a 3,000 mile in 2018 or 2016, I think it was. And
Okay.
it was basically reinventing Cannonball Run. You drive from New York to LA, and basically it was a rally for us to get there and then do the event, and then it was another rally back. We had to go to different dealerships, do oil changes. The dealership couldn't believe how many. We think we put over 12,000 kilometers on in miles, a couple weeks.
God, wow.
Some of the rallies you got to solve clues along the way to know your next turn. So they're called them gimmicks. So your next turn might be like 2-3 hours away. So if you don't solve the clue properly, you're lost.
Oh no.
You got to solve the clue. So one of them was in New Mexico. You had to count how many spikes were on this railroad spikes were on this tourist building. But if you only did the front, you would get the wrong answer. You had to walk all the way around because there were spikes on the back too. Minus that from the last road you were on to figure out your next turn. So lots of stuff involved with those. And then there'd be get-togethers and awards and stuff. And they were hard. Some of them are really hard.
And covering that many miles, how many cars are doing a rally at one time?
Usually about around 20 to 30, depending.
Yeah.
So would you ever see these people? Would you just have like rendezvous points? Would hang out, or is it just sort of willy-nilly?
There's two groups, I would say, or three groups. There's three groups. There's the fast group, which is always the ones that try to prove that they can drive or prove that, I got the fastest car. Okay. And then you got the people that actually can really drive are usually in the middle group. And they're the ones that can do like road courses and stuff. So you'll find the newbies in the fast group because they were trying to prove something. Then the experienced guys and the experienced good drivers will be in the middle group. And then you got the slow group that are, just, taking in the sights and stuff, right?
And spending all day trying to solve the
gimmicks. Some
people have given up by that point.
There's a gimmick award at the end of the rally. And that's like free entry in next year's rally kind of thing.
Okay, so if you get enough of the gimmicks, then you had as much fun as anybody else, at least, or probably more.
Yeah,
and you get to come back next year.
Yeah, the only problem with the gimmicks is you roll in the hotel at like 2 a.m, so it's almost like a drag and drive.
Right,
because it's a long day. Because you're driving like 700 miles in one day, and then you're stopping for gimmicks. So, like I said, the fast group is usually at the hotel in 10 hours because they're flying.
Right.
And then the second group has got the cops all over them and stuff like that. And we're just enjoying it. So there's times you go quick and that, but most of the time spirited driving, I would call it, as Bill and Rich.
Mexico. Yeah.
Rich driving, spirited driving.
Yeah, exactly. 100 and 110, no big deal.
Yeah.
Different costumes, like you dress up.
There's different costumes and stuff. Yeah.
Themes.
So, and then Erin's she's good at like gimmicks, like logical thinking.
I was going to say that's when you were mentioning like you have to count the ones on the back too.
Yeah.
That's Erin all day. Right. Like she'll be like, no. I figured this out. They sent those people down the wrong way. We're going this way. And we're gonna win. That's fully. I could see Erin being perfect at that.
Oh yeah, she does that, and then she also enjoys she does road week, and she actually run road week her first year or second year doing Rocky Mountain, and she won a trophy and stuff for that.
Yeah, you got like a Spirit of Road Week or something like that award, and you were in the TRX truck, right? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, and you've been involved in a lot of this stuff. And again, like without her, like Trevor would be lost, wouldn't have hotels, would have no idea where he's going. Um,
Well, it's
would
not just me.
basically
It's
right, not just you, right? The
she books
Guidos,
hotels. Yeah, she books like
Sure
as soon
does.
as the event's announced, she'll book 3 hotel rooms or 4 hotel rooms because they're Derek and Callie, um, Richard, Bill. So there's 3 rooms and then our room. So usually she books those right away, and then
right,
we find out who's going, and then they keep the rooms. So the rooms are all usually booked in the first week of an announcement
right,
because there's
and
usually one group of us is going.
right. No matter what, like
Yeah.
someone is gonna be. So like you may as well just block them out, and if whatever you can cancel rooms, it's
Yeah.
easier to cancel them than have them. But
Try to find them.
And the prices go up.
Prices shoot up
the
like
longer you
crazy.
wait.
Yeah.
totally. I've got to give a big shout out to you, Erin, as well. Like you helped me a ton for this last year's shootout. Typically, we have a day before the shootout, and I have a day to figure out. Like, I'm not like an Excel guy, so I don't spend a ton of time on the Excel world. So normally I've got a day where I can fumble through it, and unfortunately, I didn't have that opportunity at this race week. And I reached out to Michael Narks, who typically helps with all that stuff, and he was like, "Dude, I'm at a race. Like, you're on your own. Good luck." And I was having zero. I was dying. I was absolutely dying. And I reached out to Erin, and she was like, "I got you. Like, no problem. I'm in. In fact, I'm on. I'm not at work because I was supposed to be at race week, and I can help." And I was like, huge shout out. Thank you, Erin. You got me out of an absolute. Yeah, I was just gonna have people stand like, who ran a 6? Stand up. Who ran a 7? You can stand up too. Yeah, that helped me a ton and took a huge load off of my shoulders for our last drive. So thank you so much for your help behind the scenes. And I know, like I said, Trevor wouldn't even know what leg to step in his shorts most of the time would be my guess without you like helping him out. And you're that person, and I appreciate you a ton. Speaking of it, oh, I don't. That was the one. But what's with the socks and slides? Why are you a dork?
I don't know. I think it's a Canadian thing.
That's wild to me.
But Kevin
Richard
Van Horst is
Richard
the same.
has socks and slides.
Yeah, he's a dork too.
Yeah.
And I would tell him that. I mean, he would choke me out for it. But I would, I mean, yeah, that's y'all are dorks. I just need to let you know. The socks and slides. I went through a ton of your guys' photos, and my God, you have knee-high socks and slides in nearly every picture.
Well, driving the slides are comfortable. Right?
I get it. But
He
holy
doesn't
crap!
Like
I don't like
he
bare
doesn't
feet.
Like bare feet at all.
Climbing into the car, I don't know.
I get it, but come on, man, you dork. Yeah. See, even Gary's like, the slides are great, but you got to leave the socks out, man. That's not a Canadian thing. He's Canadian. He doesn't rock with the socks. It's just because you're a dork, and that's okay. You're allowed to be a dork. You and Rich Guido are nerds, and that's okay. I'm still friends with you. I gotta know, because you guys have been all over the place. What's your favorite racetrack?
Vandermeer would have been.
Vandermeer was, but it's gone. There's 2 ways. So in Canada, SIR in Saskatchewan is one of my favorite. The people there, how I've been always treated real well there, even though it's a lot farther than the more local tracks around me. But it's just, I just like that track. Never had a problem. But
how far is that from you, kilometers or time?
9-hour drive.
Oh wow!
Like Richard actually lives 7 hours south of me.
What's your closest racetrack?
We have one.
We have
like
a local 30 minutes away, Beaver Lodge, but
Okay.
Edmonton Casual. Now it's Rad Torque. The one in Edmonton is the closest. That's 4.5 hours.
Okay, all right.
I would say big track would be Great Lakes. That
Okay.
was first time there. What blew me away, we were on a weekday, so I think that was a Thursday.
Yeah,
I think that was a
morning.
Thursday morning we were there.
Early.
And I was one and done there, and I ran an 8:07 there. I come back around, and the return road goes right in front of the stands.
Okay, yep.
And the stands were packed. And I was one of the early groups. Like that was the day they had our group go first. So we're talking 9:30 in the morning. and the stands were packed, and they're like thumbs up, standing ovation, cheering as you
Right.
drive.
Like, woo! Yeah.
Like that was unreal. Like I mean,
Coming over to the pits.
like that part of the track was like crazy to me. I've never like just even like I raced at Texas 2K where there's big crowds and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
but coming back and having the fans and that many fans on a work day was
the morning.
wild to me. Like at the other tracks, I was one and done, and there was maybe 150 fans.
Right. Right. You end up with 1,500, and it's
Well,
like,
Yeah,
that was probably pretty close to a couple thousand at least, like
coming to
3,000
the
4,000
pits
there.
and thanking us for coming to their town.
Yeah,
how cool is that? How cool is that?
That was pretty awesome. So I would say just the feel was that track. Bandimere was light years. Like it's hard to like. I was at Royal Purple in Houston. That was an awesome track. Innis, I've done a lot of passes at Innis. Tulsa, you know, I've been in Florida. You know those tracks, but
Right.
that atmosphere. It was Great Bend's atmosphere was almost like at the Great Lakes there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of
Yep. Just the feel of the place.
But the people and everything were like, wow.
Right. Great Bend. I mean, shut down downtown for us. It was crazy. They just, you guys want a space to party? We'll just shut down. You guys park down there. I mean, how cool of a town to, and unfortunately they're going through the stuff they're going through right now. With the surface problems and everyone's suing everybody, but to have a town that loves the drag strip is absolutely amazing because that doesn't exist everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that a lot. I'm not sure if you guys do you guys tow a trailer? You don't, do you?
I did the last year.
You did so what do you think? Trailer or no trailer?
Trailer is so much better. The roof rack was great because I was thinking, oh, my trunk is so big in the GTR. I don't use the back seat, so there's lots of room. But unpacking and packing was an hour to unpack, hour to repack, and then you got to change the car over still. So, I mean, you're looking at 2 hours of your day just unpacking, repacking. That's not even switching the car over.
Right.
And after pulling a trailer, all you do is grab the tires, the jack, change the wheels, and do it. If you need to get further in, you get further in, but you're not unpacking the whole trailer to do your car. So for me now, that after pulling a trailer, it's hard to beat a trailer. Yeah, like I mean, like in a fast car, like I'm not knocking. Like Erin did it in the Corvette, and there's no trunk space in that.
Right.
Like she's got enough room for clothing bags and a snack bag, and that's pretty much it.
It actually. Here's a good picture of you doing the pit duties on the Corvette. Because typically she's doing that for you, and here you are actually working, and you're not wearing slides. I don't think. Good for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I get it. Like, not having to unload everything every day.
Yeah,
it's so nice. You just
okay, we're done. Yeah, you're ready to go. Like that's so much nicer.
And Erin, you've done a lot of the road week type stuff in the TRX, and obviously it's not a lot of packing and whatnot. But having done a truck on one of these, does that help, or is that actually a hindrance? Because I've heard a lot of people with trucks are like, I don't want to put any of my stuff in the bed necessarily because it might rain or whatever. So you end up actually in a small cab with everything packed behind you, and it's like even smaller. What do you think about truck on drag and drives?
I love having the truck on drag and drives. You can move everything into the back seat when you go into the hotel room or whatever, and I just like the space. And then if somebody needs something, you have a truck.
Like Richard, his dad.
Throw something in. Yeah, it was good. We had a truck the one time, and Trevor's car stayed in the States. And the one time Richard broke out of 13 events, and that was during COVID, and we were able to load up the car and bring his car home.
When he lost the spin, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought this was kind of cool because I found an old photo of you guys racing. And oh God, I lost it. There it is. No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. And you're next to a first gen CTSV. And fast forward a few years and you're next to a first gen CTSV. I'm just saying, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like, it's pretty awesome. Just saying. What is next? I know PFI did a big reboot on your car. Brent and the guys are absolutely awesome, and really helped you guys kind of get your program resorted. But what's next? I know you guys you mentioned you have a busy year next year. What do you got coming? What are you thinking? What's going on? When are we going to see a 7 point anything on the front of your time slip on that thing?
Hopefully at Florida.
Okay,
so that'll be
January.
January for sick week.
Yeah, sick week. I'm shooting to get 7s is the goal, and of course, it'd be great to have 7s every day, and of course, finish because I didn't finish it last year.
Right.
The hole. Found wiring issues on the injector plug and fixed that, and then we upgraded some of my fuel lines and fuel injectors. The Motec said it had one thing, and we put the actual size in that it said it had because I had way smaller and it shouldn't have been.
Right.
Just minor things we've been going through. Like right now is just I'm actually building a backup motor too as well.
So cool.
Just a building a backup motor. So if I do have problems at one event, I can drop the motor, put the other one in. It's come out the bottom, lift the car off it.
Right. Either way, it's less than having to get it out, fix it, and then put it back in. It's just get it out, put it in, and then you have time to fix whatever's.
Yeah, exactly. Because machine time, parts, that's a delay on these cars. Like that's the biggest holdup. So if you have a problem getting new pistons or rods or crank or
get some weird like oil cooler thing or something. I mean, there's a ton. You name it. It could be anything. Yeah. Or maybe you hooked up the oil cooler wrong, lines backwards or something. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I just saw it on video one time.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
But big shout out to PFI for sure. I know they've been a huge help in running through a lot of these, the stuff that has taken you out in the past, that they've been able to run through and tighten up the program so that hopefully in January you can achieve both goals, like finish the redemption tour is a big deal. And then being able to do it hopefully with new personal bests.
Yeah. I think Brent said he'd be my co-pilot too. Tentatively.
How cool is that? Nice.
So,
that's, if you guys don't know, Brent has been Cletus's co-pilot forever and ever. Brent's maybe one of the most solid dudes on the planet. Like he won't see me for months and months and months on end. In fact, he wasn't at FL2K, but Jamie was. So I haven't seen him for a little bit, but he'll come up and just give you the biggest hug, and like he'll stand next to you with the biggest smile and listen to all your stories and the stuff that you've been having going on and stuff. And he soaks that stuff in, and he just loves people and loves the environment and loves it. Yeah, I'm a big Brent dude, so I'm excited to hear that.
Well, Brent, how I met Brent was craziest story because my car was in the States because I left it after Texas 2K20 because COVID hit, and we abandoned because they closed the border. So we abandoned we left during the event. So I qualified for the shootout, but I didn't even race. We just jumped in the car and in the truck and drove home. I left the car in the trailer in the States. So when Rocky Mountain I registered, and Richard was supposed to go down with me, and he couldn't get his car across the border. And the only way we could get across the border is fly.
Right.
So my car was already down there. So I just flew down and had my car. So I was at the event, and Richard's like, look for a guy, Bill Armstrong, look for this car here. And I was like, okay. And he'll be your friend. And I'm like, okay. So I went and met up with Bill. I met Bill. And at the very first track, I was pitted, and they were pitted right beside Cletus. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm at my first Dragon Drive. I'm pitted right beside Cletus. But the aspect that no one really thinks of, I couldn't work on my car.
Right. There's a million people around your stuff.
They have pylons so they can work on theirs, but I couldn't. And Brent saw me struggling to try and change my back tires to put the drag slicks on, and he walks over. I'm a nobody, right? Like I'm from Canada. I'm nobody up north. And he comes over and he sees I'm struggling. And he comes over and says, "Hey, I can move these pylons so I can get these people backed up a little more, and we'll put you kind of in our little circle kind of thing, and you'll be able." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "That's awesome." And then he's talked to me, and then we had common friends from history. Like he knew Kenny, and that's who I was with on the car for the long time. Like originally built the car, and
Yeah.
then from there, I just, I started talking with him, and that was my rookie year, and that was Jamie's rookie year, and that's when Jamie had his what is it?
The neon, the
The neon,
curse.
what do you call it? The curse? That's it. He
Yep, the
had,
curse.
and I'm a Dodge guy, and I'm like a small motor against the big guys, and he was an 850 class with me, and so I was talking with him, and then all the struggles. So I was over there trying to, help and whatever tools or whatever, just. I was kind of that
Yeah,
guy.
just stay, keep,
Just keep
yeah,
going.
keep going, man. Yeah, exactly. Like we're all rookies here. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of met Brent and Jamie. Like he come over to me, he saw me struggling trying to change tires, and he comes to me. Like that's how down to earth Brent and Jamie are. Like
Totally, they're just they're like regular dudes. They just got kind of famous from racing Hondas, like, and then riding around Cletus and doing all that stuff. Like it's again, yeah, they're regular old everyday dudes, and they're super cool.
yeah,
I gotta know. And again, if you got questions, throw them up here. Let's get them done. The one I gave you guys a heads up on, and I heard Trevor's answer, but I want to hear Erin's answer, and you got to tell the people as well. But favorite drag and drive car that you would like to own or race if they're not the same car.
Trevor and I talked about this before. One of our buddy Richard's brother Bob, he has a Mustang. If you actually Google Mustang hits both walls drag week, he'll come up. He'll be the first one that comes up. He ended up hitting both walls. Was still able to drive the car back home to Canada after hitting both walls. He had a wheel come off just before home, so Trevor went out and found him on the highway and picked him up. But that's a pretty cool car. He's done Optima racing. He's been to SEMA.
Yep.
Done rallies, drag and drives.
It's like a '69, I think, coupe.
Yeah.
Mustang, and it's a stick car. It's not a fire breathing. It's a naturally aspirated thing. Yeah, I don't even know. I think it runs in the 11s, 10s, maybe. I can't even remember.
It's 1050.
Yeah, yeah. And it was a nice car. It still is a nice car. But yeah, he pinballed it off of both walls somewhere on drag week. And was like, I don't even know what to do. And like dudes were like pulling fenders out, and like he had the suspension out, and he was hammering stuff straight. He said even, they replaced a bunch of the sheet metal. In fact, I had lunch with Bob and Rich. They were on their way to 666. I had lunch with them on Friday, I think, or something like that, on their way down, and he had the Mustang, and he's sick warding it. He's not actually in sick 66. He's not in the sick week. He's doing the sick ward. But he was telling me like they put all new sheet metal and stuff on that, so it's nice and good on the outside. But he's like underneath, it's still all bent up, and it's the same car. So there's like a rod that holds one of the suspension pieces from moving forward and backward, and it's all bent into an S and stuff still. Like it's just, yeah. He's like, it's still, you can, if you look underneath it, you can tell that I crashed the hell out of that car.
Yeah.
But again, we were talking about it beforehand. Like, what a gangster for getting that thing back. And I think he finished drag week and then had to drive it back to Canada. Won the Spirit of drag week.
Won the Spirit with it. He finished the week, drove back to Canada, and lost his wheels 20 kilometers or 15 miles out of town. And I went and picked him up with a trailer, and he was mad because he didn't make it home. And I'm like, you practically made it home. Like, you drove 1,200 miles, did an event, hit both walls halfway through the event, and came back.
Right. And still came back. Yeah, still drove that junk back. Like,
yeah, and then they rebuilt it, him and his dad, and they all found and got parts for it and rounded up, and he got it back going. And then from that, for the next 3 years after that, we did rallies, and we actually did a red wreck rally. We named it after his car. We actually had his car on the shirt. I think we still got a couple of those shirts around. but we had a Red Wreck rally, and we did that for 3 years in a row up in the mountains here in Canada,
How awesome.
and we did that and then he did Optima, he did
Yeah,
one,
the streetcar shootout, or the fastest streetcar deal.
yeah, he did in, I think, down, I can't remember, Bowling Greens or something like that. He was down
Hmm.
there racing, and then he was at the Optima booth at SEMA with his car.
Right.
So, and he won the Spirit Award at Optima because he drove his car. He wasn't like everyone else. He drove his car to and from the thing.
So
So the
awesome.
history I know, and the history I've been around that car and seeing the car and being in the car, like it's not, Tom Bailey car or something, but I mean, to me, it's a badass car.
Totally. I mean, it's a badass car, and it's a good story, and the dude behind it's a good dude. Like, it's kind of like being the second prettiest girl at the dance when your brother's Rich Guido.
Yeah,
But like Bob's cool in his own right, and he's got a lot to
Hollywood
prove.
Bob.
Or he's got a lot to prove that, because, like, again, yeah, he bounced his crap off both walls and was able to finish the thing and drive it home. Like, the Guido boys are cut from a different cloth. Them cats are, um, even the dad, even Mike
Mike,
is.
yeah.
They're
It's cool with their dad.
they're neat, and even on race week, like, it's hot, it's crazy, people are doing, whatever, and Mike's out there just doing it to it, just doing it with everybody else, sitting underneath the shade, drinking his water and telling his war stories too. And yeah, they're the Guidos are my people. I dig them a lot. So good answer on that. Gary, who's obviously Gary's up in the middle of the day as well, wants to know, how is Strawberry Creek, and if you could do one, would it be road course or drag racing?
I kind of do them both, to be honest. Just because I like anything you do with your car, it's you got to enjoy it.
Right,
Like, I
right.
mean, everyone makes fun of me at work, like where I work, because they see like I go drag racing and they all, oh, you can't turn, and I'm like, at the end of the track you have to turn. I say all the time,
Yeah,
and
if you can turn, you're going too slow.
yeah, so they all make fun of me, but I was like, man, I've road raced. Like my GTR, I ran on the road course in Vegas. I've done Strawberry Creek. I just took the C8 on the Strawberry Creek, so I kind of got the C8 more of our to do some road course again. Like I got away
Okay,
from that. I did that when we had our daughter. I did more road stuff and rallies because they were more affordable. Drag
got it,
racing gets expensive. Road racing doesn't have to get, like, it can get expensive if you want to be the best or whatever. I just
got it.
want to I just want to be a good driver, and that's where the road, because then you understand techniques and stuff like that. Drag racing
Totally.
is just, it's the atmosphere of meeting people on a road racing event. I would say you don't meet the people that you would like.
Not
Drag and drive is,
driving all over.
yeah, rally, you drive and you hang out with people. A drag and drive, you're basically doing a rally and hanging out with people. At
Okay,
a drag race event, you don't really hang out with people. You only hang out with a couple people you know. It's not like you see them, they're gone the next day. Like,
right.
people aspect is more like road racing is the same. You're there that day, you road race. It was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love it. That's why I do it. But that's just there for me to either dial my car in or to learn more better techniques and steering and proper braking and stuff like that. Like I
Yeah, like
use
like
like that.
driver stuff.
Yeah.
Totally. He also wants to know what I have coming up. Cool. Um, I am doing Mod Nationals next, Bradenton. That is just in a few weeks, 3 weeks now, I believe, away. It's Veterans Day weekend, so that's going to be awesome. All overhead cam Ford stuff. So, mod motors, coyotes, etc., etc., etc. Absolutely off the chain event. I work with Cliff Parvin on that one as well. Shout out to Justin Young. It's a buy vets for vets kind of event. That's, I think, what got me the deal. So I'm a veteran myself. So, yeah, Mod Nationals next. After that, I have a break until the Christmas tree race. Um, that's going to be middle of December at Bradenton as well, and then I'll be back again for Sick Week as well. So my next three are those. The Christmas tree race is absolutely banger. Has to be 6 feet tall tree. Can't fall off. Has to be lit. There's a bunch of 6-second cars that are at that. You see Chad Fegley's car right out, or that's Ruby actually right out front there. But that's an absolutely gangster baller race. I'm excited for that as well. So yeah, I'm in Florida for the next 3 months with big chunks in between, which is great because I need a little break. I went a little nuts around in and around race week. So one event per month until then, and then I don't actually have anything planned past then. I need to kind of figure out my 2025. We're like right there. So I work for myself now. I need to promote myself. We'll make it happen. But that's what I'll be at next. But we'll see you guys next at Sick Week for sure. And then what else do you guys have planned for 25? Oh, did we lose you? Are you locked up? Am I locked up? No, they're locked up. All right. We'll work on that. So yes, I've got those deals coming up very soon. Mod Nationals is an absolute riot. That race is so much fun. If you've got an overhead cam, Ford powered thing, 2V, 3V, 4V, or Coyote, that is your race to go to. Make sure you check that stuff out. Yeah, absolutely off the chain. So, yes, hopefully. Oh, they're back. Awesome. Hey, all right.
Our power went out.
It happens. It happens. Yes, Gary. Hopefully, our paths will definitely cross soon. Gary was cool. I had like a real cool, candid conversation with Gary about online kind of YouTube type stuff, and I was like, dude, I'm not in your market. You're not really in my market, but like, you're bigger than I am, but you're still not big. But like, let's cut the cheese a little bit. Let's figure out life. And I ended up buying a hat from him. So, yeah. Gary's the man. Again, what do you guys? So you guys are doing Sick Week coming up in January. What else do you have planned for 25?
Well, we were looking at the Kakalaki, possibly. It's just a long travel over there.
The Kakalaki.
Kakalaki.
Yeah, you're from Canada. I'll let you get a little bit of a break on that one, but yeah, that's a slang term for the Carolinas is the Kakalakis. So yeah, the Kakalaki Run.
So that's summer.
Shoot, you guys are maybe your robots on my end.
Just
a sec.
Hold on now. I will be announcing for the Kakalaki Run, by the way. That's a deal. They reached out early and said, I can't have anyone but you announce our race. And yes, so I will be. They were back. I will be announcing the Kakalaki Run. I'll be at both of the race week events for sure, and at the moment Sick Week. So sorry. Yeah, now let's go.
Sorry. Race Mega Week.
We really want to do it. Depends on the dates.
Because if it's in the middle of my shift, I can't take off a month and a half of work.
Right.
So if it's like where they kind of tentatively announced it, I can't do it. But if it's a week before or after, I can do. So that's I can take a half a shift off, but I can't take a full because I work shift work where I'm 15 days on and 14 days or 13 days off, and everyone at work is like, "You're off for 13 days, take it then." And I'm like, I don't organize events.
But yeah, that's not when the thing's happening.
Yeah,
so I just recommend that you quit because you were looking for a job when you found that one, so it's no big deal.
Send us the winning lottery ticket, he'll quit.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
And then maybe we want to do a rally. We want to go back and do a rally. We're going to probably organize our own for our 30th anniversary.
Cool.
Maybe to go through the Redwood Forest or around Yellowstone is our thoughts.
Very
those
cool.
Are two possible routes. So we want to do that, and then in the fall possibly maybe do drag week. I've never done that one.
That'd be cool.
So
drag weeks. Yeah, it's all kind of up in the air. Drag week for me is maybe my next one because we don't have a race week planned at the moment. The plan kind of initially was Matt and Chad and I would all get cars together and go to Drag Week, because we haven't been on a drag and drive for quite some time. So being able to like have some time to go do that, maybe a thing. Neil, early July, or I'm sorry, early June is what's been kicked around. I don't know exact dates. I think we're waiting on a bunch of tracks to get back. We had like one track was like, great, we're in, and the it'll be in that same kind of Tulsa, Ennis area, because we know those guys. They're awesome. They have sweet tracks. So circuits always that's on my list always. It tends to be tough because it's right around a bunch of other stuff that I'm working. We'll just see. The circuits one I've wanted to do. Even the Southeast Street Meet is always during Mod Nationals, unfortunately, but I want to run that one at some point. I think those guys put on a hell of a show. And the Jared Holtz deal, the whatever the hell it is, Cruising USA or
King of the Open Road.
Yeah, King of the Open Road. That's what it is. His I've heard nothing but good about. So maybe I'll do that. We'll see what happens. So whatever. And Neil said his daughter graduates June 1st. He can't miss that if he wants to stay male. I don't know what that means, but I get it. Yes, we all have stuff kind of rolling. So hopefully we get something relatively soon. I know with it such a big kind of moving pieces deal, he's got a lot that he's got to work out because he's asking tracks now to be there from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Yeah. So they now need to have their regular staff plus an extra staff because those dudes can't stand out there for 17 hours or whatever and run a racetrack. So there's a lot of moving pieces for it. We'll see what happens. I don't know any more than anyone else does at the moment. We've talked a little bit about shootout stuff and how that's going to work. We're probably going to run the bracket race in the morning and run heads up racing in the afternoon. So we have them separated, and then I give heads up guys a little bit more time to kind of do their thing. But again, I don't know what any more than anybody else does at the moment, especially with timing, etc. So if it's one that it will be one that a lot of folks that do race week and Rocky Mountain Race Week are not going to get to join both because then you'd be on 2 in 1 day. So if you wanted to do one, it's going to be one that's going to be available to a lot of folks. There will be a lot of open spots. So it'll be fun. It's going to be an absolutely insane time. The day before the heads up race, there's going to be a big party, probably with food trucks, probably with a band. Hopefully it works out so you guys can be there. It wouldn't be the same without your socks and slides. So, and busting a move out there, US style, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Grom shootout's for sure going to happen. I got third. If you guys didn't know, I got third in motorcycle at Race Week 2024. Pat also made me a 3D printed Rocky Mountain Race Week light that his brother made. That's super cool. But I raced Pat with his Hayabusa. I rode his Grom. I red lit. He beat me. It was bullshit. But I took on co-pilot Kyle in the second round of the Grom shootout on his Grom. It was Grom on Grom crime, and I waxed that ass. I gotta say, like, Kyle ain't got nothing on me and Pat Cook's Grom, which I found out like minutes before I rode it had a GP shifter, so it shifts backward. So I was trying to figure that out. Whatever. But Grom shootout's definitely happening. I gotta uphold my third place in the motorcycle class because I rode a Grom twice, and apparently that earns you third place in motorcycle class. So, whatever. So Grom shootout's definitely happening. So we're gonna make that happen. Let's see. What's the largest thrash? I assume it's the year you nearly had to burn your car down on the side of the road.
Yeah, that
tire blow up, the alternator.
Yeah, tires. I went through alternator, 3 alternators, fuel pumps. That was a tough year. June
2023.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah.
That was repeatedly getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over.
I just felt blessed because I finished, what was it, 6 or 8 in a row. Like I was never had a problem, and then I went through a couple bad ones in a row. Like, and when I had a bad one, I was done. But I mean, that was like a physically bad one. Like I was so burnt out, and then I had to drive home from it. That's the
Right.
other factor. I got to
slept
drive
for a week.
another, what is it? At least 2,500 miles home. Like, so I
Right.
finished the event. I got 2,500 mile drive. It's not
Yeah,
over.
you got done driving
And
1,300 miles.
and the way I time it is like literally the event ends, and I got 2 days to drive, and I go back to work.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
yeah,
it's the only vacation you need a vacation from after.
yeah, yep,
And you earned yourself a freaking helmet. I mean, you are the Sick Freaks winner. There's some Canadian action right there from Sick Summer. Dude, how about parking the thing on the podium and earning yourself first place? You gotta be stoked on that. And that was the
yeah,
first real trip with the new car. I mean,
yeah. I was nervous because Brent he was dealing with back issues, so he couldn't be my co-pilot. So in the picture there is Erin's niece, Janaea. She yeah.
you can talk.
Yeah, so in that picture, she's was my co-pilot, and she actually was helped Rovic. So that's why she's in the middle of both of us, because she lined Rovic up and everything. Because Rovic walked her through how to be a co-pilot. It's pretty
Right.
awesome.
And what better dude? Because that dude, like, I talked to him about that on the show I had him on. Man, he'll just go out there and he's like, if I can go out and line up 3 or 4 or 5 guys and make
Yeah,
their week better because they made that awesome pass because I helped them that time, like then I made my week. Like I like doing burnouts and I like doing my thing. I like doing Oldsmobile stuff. But if I can help make one other person's like week better, then I'm going to do it. And that totally makes sense because he, like, again, he can show her, here's what you need to do. Here's what reading a track looks like. Here's what this does. Here's what this does. And, he earned himself the Spirit Award as well, which has got the carburetor on fire, which is pretty appropriate because he still has a carbureted Oldsmobile engine in his car because he's a dinosaur. But yeah, dude, how like it's just got to be amazing. Again, after kind of all the strife and all the pushing and all the second places to go and again, you're kind of running away with the class at that point, but like still being able to do it and put yourself on the podium and earn yourself a helmet. Like it was cool for me to hand over a helmet to you. I was happy, I was super happy
well,
to be there for that moment because I've been following you for so long and we've been
yeah.
buddies for a little bit.
Well, I got to see Blaine get his, because I mean Blaine Stark, because Stark's helping. They help me, and when you travel together and hang around with the same groups, like I mean, it was awesome seeing him and his dad. Like that was pretty
Yep.
emotional. That was awesome. So
Yeah.
that was one thing to take away from that event. It was so great. I had Sissio's remote tuning because with Brent's back and that, so Sissio's was helping me out with the tuning. So every
Cool.
track they would do some log in, give me a tune, and I was one and done. Like they had me dialed, like locked in. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
that
And
felt huge. And
I met a handful of those dudes in a bunch of their cars at L2K, and dude, CEO lays it down, especially with the like the roll race world. Holy cow, dude! I had no idea. So yeah, thanks to them for. I mean, anyone that helps my buddies are buddies of mine. So
yeah, like
yeah, dude, Sissio, shout out.
yeah. And then another part, I'm hoping to push the class.
Mhm.
Because it's kind of an import class. It's one of the few events. It's an import. Like it doesn't say import. It just
Yeah,
can't be
it's street
V8
race,
engines. Yeah, it
but
can't have V8 engines. That's basically, unless it's a diesel. So if
right,
I could push that class, and it'd be nice to get someone like Jared Holt, coming. Sure, his super's faster, but it pushed me,
right,
right? Like,
right.
if we get a couple more of these guys, like
Yeah, with
Devin,
some like quick 2Js
Damon, I mean,
and stuff like that. I
Damon,
mean,
he's fast. Like his super can run. He did run a 7 before me even, but
right?
he's not aged. And I'm like, maybe that'll push him to, hey, maybe, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
in this thing and go drag and drive that junk, dude.
Yeah, like me and him were competing back and forth at sick week, and I actually jumped him the day I hurt my engine. I actually moved in the first place because he was
Hmm.
time restricted. So he won the class, but it'd be nice, like if we can get more imports to go faster, it's just more people out using their car, and we can show that the imports are fast. Like
Yeah, dude, totally.
it'd be cool, like just push the class. Like that's another reason why I went from the 850. I moved up because I wanted to push the group of cars to go faster.
Totally, and obviously the car is capable of going faster. And what's ultimate goal? How quick with the current kind of hardware you've got? How quick do you think that it can go?
It should, like, once if I do a turbo upgrade, then it'd be I could do 750s. It would
Uh,
take a turbo, and that's basically it.
Amadeo's calling your ass out.
I'm coming for you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I just got him a Skyline from Canada and
yeah,
shipped it
he's
down to him. Yeah,
calling your ass out. It's already on. He
well that's
he says you ain't got nothing, and he got $1,000 on it, and I'm talking U.S., which is about 4,500 Canadian.
Yeah,
yeah.
feels like
I'm just doing a carry the one. Yeah, it's about 3,800.
Yeah, he's been one of my main co-pilots, Amadeo. He helped me through the the good times, and we went through some struggles together. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so
definitely. And yeah, dude, you got to have those dudes. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
you got to have those dudes. I mean, bunch of idiots, but that's part of the deal. Is like these people are, they're kind of trudging through the bull crap with you, and it's cool to have them around and have them in your corner at all times, and just knowing that, yeah, when you're out doing the thing and you're on the live stream, even if he's not there with you, he's cheering you on, watching you live and doing the thing, and it's
yeah,
cool. It's cool having those people.
yeah. And my car brings a different fan to the sport too. Like, there is no real exotic or performance import cars that do drag and drive really. So I draw a lot of the younger kids that come. They come over to my
Totally.
car, and
Yep.
Matt and June did a poster of my car the one year, and I got them to make me like 100 of them, and I give them
Hmm.
out to the kids when they come by, and they sign them or whatever. Let them sit in the car. The one year at was it Pebble? I think it was Pebble or was it Kearney? One of those tracks. I can't remember. There was a girl in a wheelchair,
Hmm.
and she wanted to sit in the car, and I'm like, she can go ahead. And her dad put her in the car, and there's glow on her face. Like, if I don't have to line up or anything, I'm more than happy to let the kids jump in the car, see what's
Yep.
like, and you know, even on the road at the gas stations and take a picture, sign. Like, I give them stickers and stuff. Like, it that I'm over 50, so if I can get a younger generation to do this, like, the sport is a bunch of 45 plus year olds and a few mid 20s and early 30s. There's not really a young generation.
Right.
And
Right.
the younger generation than us, it's not that big, like, overall. Like, it'd
Yeah.
be nice to draw more in. So that's my car being a different than the variety of a drag and drive car, right?
Yeah. Yours is kind of a supercar car. I mean, a lot of the younger crowd identifies with a GTR more than they do a Camaro or whatever. I mean, even I can't remember exactly who I was at. I was like walking by your pit, and I was like, "Hey, can this kid sit in your?" It's like, "Yeah, whatever, go for it." Like, I open the door, I shove the kid in. Like, you don't. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and that's a lot of the reason I do the rookie of the year and the young gun deal. Brand new into drag and drive because I love drag and drive. I like to push that world, and then young gun, so a young kid doing drag and drive, like same deal. It takes a lot of commitment to do a drag and drive. It takes a lot of commitment as a 45-year-old or you as a 50-plus-year old, doing drag and drives. Like having a 21-year-old kid be able to do it and do it next to us, and again, like, probably with pennies in their pocket, and staying in tents and stuff along the way. Like, that's cool to me. I think that's neat, and that those are the kind of people we really need to push that sport forward. And I agree with you. Like, there's a lot of different folks that like your car that don't necessarily like an old American muscle car. You bring a different kind of crowd to the scene, and it's cool you kind of hold that flag for that world. I dig on that. I'm through. I'm done with my questions. If there's any other questions, go ahead and throw them up there. I just want to thank you guys for joining me in the cool midday. That's cool drink. Got me a couple of beers for hope you got a couple before you drive, which is great. I mean, it's good for you. No, okay. Yeah, V6 gang, V6 mob. John Long Jr. has the V6 Chevette. So yeah, dude, very very cool. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And like I said, it's going to be really 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 fun. And yeah, Jason at War doesn't normally drink this early. I don't either. I'm not sure what to do with the rest of my day. This is great. But I will see you guys at Sick Week. Oh, the Wallette. That's right.
Yep.
That is right.
And the ketchup chips and maple cookies.
Day drinking. The ketchup chips, the maple cookie. You guys have been my Canadian snack supporters. You're the OGs. You're the originals. And Rich Guido kind of took it over. The problem is that Rich brings all his stuff to Bill Armstrong first. And Bill Armstrong has now fallen in love with ketchup chips because they're amazing. So if Rich brings me 2 bags of ketchup chips, I get 1 now because Bill, he has to pay the tariff at Evergreen, Colorado, which is great. I love to expand people's horizons because we don't get such items out here. So yeah, you guys are my official Canadian snack dealers, and I appreciate that as well because yeah, man, you guys are awesome. You bring it down and you make it happen, and you bring cool stuff, and you embody the world of motorsports and drag and drive, and I'm happy to sit down with you guys for a little bit.
I appreciate your time.
Hell yeah, my friend. Well, sweet. I'm going to throw you guys in the background real quick here. I'll do a quick goodbye, and I'll bring you guys back on to say thanks again to you. But again, you guys have been awesome. The Brandens, you guys, they're on this side. Give it up for them. You guys are cool. Thank you guys so much for a little midday That's Cool drink. Man, that was fun. I love me some Brandens. Erin and Trevor are absolutely awesome. Like I said, Erin got me out of the jam with the spreadsheet stuff earlier at Race Week, and she's been a long time staple in the road week sort of world and just kind of around and doing it. And she's been absolutely a blast to hang out with. And then Trevor, of course, piloting the GTR. That thing is an absolute blast, and it was super cool to sit down with them and get a little bit before they head up to start working. Trevor's on his 14-day on period here relatively soon, so I was able to catch them in time, which is super cool. So, Danny, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you for you're a long time. You're doing the thing, and yeah, dude, you're awesome, and you're a Guido fan, so we can be friends. So, I fix good. Day drinking. You're right. We are day drinking. It's absolutely fun. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Special afternoon version of That's Cool Drink. I'll be back next week. I'm hoping to have, and I was supposed to have on last week, John Sears. He's with the Radial Tire, RTRA, Radial Tire something administration. I don't know what the hell, of America. I'll talk to him. He's also the inventor of X275. He's also a big tech guy. He's a tech dude for NHRA and does a lot of traveling sort of tech stuff. So if you are a promoter, you know of John Sears. I was supposed to have him on last week. He was on his way to No Mercy in South Jordan Motorsports Park, and they had to get out of the way of the hurricane. And so I figured I'd let him get a week, kind of chill out, and hopefully I'll have him on next week. So hopefully look forward to that. Otherwise, stay tuned to the Facebook page for any updates of what's going on. I'm sorry I had such a big break between Eric Carroll and Trevor Branden, Trevor and Erin. Stuff gets in the way. It is what it is. But yes, new dog. I got a new Belgian Malinois. That is definitely awesome. She will get some ear scratching. She's outside with Klaus sleeping, having a absolutely grand old time. But like I said, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. That's Cool Drink, episode 55 with the Brandens. We are done. Have a great rest of your day, y'all.